everyone and welcome back to episode 61, guys, of my F1 2016 Toro Rosso career mode. Today here for my home Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix, and this could actually be a very, very important race. You can see currently just 6 points behind Lewis Hamilton, 6 points ahead of Max Verstappen here. You know, maybe if we get lucky in this race, if we win this race, we will guarantee to take the lead of the championship overall ahead of my British rival Lewis Hamilton. You know, hoping for both of us that we can have a good race out at our home Grand Prix. Obviously, it's looking like one of us two has a strong chance of winning this race. But moving on straight away into free practice here, as you can see, moving on to the end of my track acclimatization lap, and we basically nailed that lap. A free 50 R&D points for that one, so, you know, very, very happy with that. And then moving on to my qualifying simulation lap, and we get the 30 R&D points from that as well. Unfortunately, we couldn't push to get the 50, but, you know, 30 R&D points still very, very helpful from that. So, you know, we'll have a look at the end of the session there. We're going to take home just over around 130 R&D points, I think, overall from those sessions. So, you know, very, very happy with that. As you can see, we're going to be over 650 points, 654 overall there. So, you know, that's very, very good. And you're now moving on into qualifying one. And qualifying one wasn't a particularly interesting session. So, as you can see, I got pole there by actually a very, very big margin over Daniel Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton there. No real big surprise there. Felipe Massa and Felipe Nasr there just missed out on Q2. I guess could be the only surprises. But obviously with Williams lacking to put any upgrades on their car since the start of last season, really. You know, they've just basically sunk to the bottom of the pack like a stone. But, you know, let's move on then into Q2. And Q2 was a little bit more interesting, as you can see, coming towards the end of my lap. It was still very, very damp in the intermediate conditions there. Hoping, you know, we could see a dry race. But coming around the end of the final corner there, we do just about sneak under the 1 minute 44 barrier there, which meant we were near enough a second quicker than Daniel Ricciardo there. But Lewis Hamilton barely making it into Q3 there, down in P9 there. So not really too sure what that was all about. But Sergio Perez down in P10, out-qualifying his teammate Nico Hülkenberg to take home the final spot in Q2 there. But once again, no real big surprises there. Jensen Button getting into Q3, I guess, was something, you know, that we can all be very happy with. 3 British drivers into the final qualifying session at the British Grand Prix. But coming around onto my final lap now of Q3, as you can see, the timing sheets are getting lit up at the moment, but we're going to absolutely smash just about everybody there. Set a very, very low 1 minute 44 there. So, you know, very, very happy with that. By the end of the session, you can see we did manage to get pole position there by just over 1.1 seconds. So, you know, it was intermediate conditions here today, you know, were very much my own sort of domination phase. But, you know, Lewis Hamilton manages to really up the performance in Q3 there to lock out a full British front row, ready for the Grand Prix tomorrow. But obviously, you know, hoping that we can obviously win the race. If Hamilton comes second, obviously we will lead going into Hungary by just 1 point. We can just see, having a look now at the R&D, up to 750 points there. And having a look at the rivalry update, we're absolutely going to smash Hamilton there. Obviously, we're nearly completing it now. Obviously, I want to try and win every rivalry we can this season. You can see, having a look as well, obviously we're still in the purple, in the driver position there. But, you know, it's going to be a very, very interesting Grand Prix here. Hoping, you know, it could be a very, very dry race, you can see. But let's move on then into the British Grand Prix. So turns out then, the British weather has come to haunt us today. I said about how I wanted a dry race, but clearly the race is going to be a very, very wet beginning. But, you know, hoping that we still should be strong in these early stages. Obviously, the wet weather really is my strong suit now. I've also built this Toro Rosso to be very, very good in the wet as well, which is always helpful. But, you know, Silverstone, a track that I've always wanted to win. We did have a fairly strong result, if I remember, last season with the Sauber here. We did actually manage to get points in what would be our final race for Sauber. So, you know, we've now raced, once obviously we've completed this Grand Prix, we've raced with Toro Rosso now for a successful full season. You know, maybe we could see a contract offer at the end of this Grand Prix. You know, we're going to stick with Toro Rosso even if we do. But, you know, it's going to be very, very wet for the British Grand Prix here. But let's just have a look then down the field. Let's have a look, obviously, at the qualifying results overall. Just to recap, myself on pole, over a second clear of Lewis Hamilton with Max Verstappen. So 3 different drivers from 3 different teams, 3 different power units there in the top 3. Nico Rosberg 4th, Button 5th, Vettel 6th, Daniel Ricciardo down in 7th, Sergio Perez 8th, Kimi Raikkonen 9th. My teammate Danny Kvyat just made it into Q3. And then Nico Hülkenberg, Fernando Alonso, the Haas lock out the 7th row there, with Marcus Ericsson and Valtteri Bottas filling out the 8th row. Massa and Nasr, the Brazilians, there on the 9th row. Magnussen, Haryanto, Pascal Wehrlein, and unfortunately Jolyon Palmer there at the very back of the grid. So, you know, hoping that he can still have a very, very strong home Grand Prix here at the British Grand Prix. But having a look then at the race strategy here, and the race is just progressively going to get drier and drier as we look through the race here, so we won't obviously be able to opt with either of those two strategies there, but we're going to try and go as far as we possibly can on that set of wet tyres there. We're going to overfuel the car a little bit there, so obviously when it does get dry, maybe, we could still have a bit of a chance if, we are a bit further down the field than I'd like, just to be able to push on the final few laps here. Now, I'm not really too sure how good the British track is for fuel saving, we'll have to wait and see as we move on into the Grand Prix here. But it's going to be a very, very interesting race here at the British Grand Prix, changing conditions as Britain's always known for, but it's 3 lights, it's 4 lights, it's 5 lights for the British Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go, and we've bogged down absolutely massively there. Lewis Hamilton's going to be able to steamroll me as we look down towards turn 1 there. We're going to try and hold it around his outside there, not being able to get the turn in there. We're going to have to completely bail out of turn 2 there, nearly getting in the gravel there on the exit, but we're going to have to cut back over the grass here very, very cautiously as to not cross over anyone else's path, but fortunately somehow we've managed to come back on the track as we go right around the outside of Max Verstappen there to hold on to P2 in the British Grand Prix there. Not really too sure what happened down towards turn 1, but we just completely bogged down on the very, very short run to turn 1, which means Lewis Hamilton has obviously been able to take full use of that and is now in the lead of the Grand Prix. But obviously we need to try and get back past him as quickly as we possibly can. Obviously we were so much quicker than the AI in the intermediate conditions here, hoping that the same suit can follow during the race conditions. We can see following on Lewis Hamilton now, and we get tremendous drive looking down towards the old front straight here. As you can see, coming around the outside of Lewis Hamilton there, he tries to squeeze me off the track there. We're going to go and look round his outside in towards the old turn 1 there. Are we going to be able to hook the run up around the outside? We get the wheel over the curb there, lose the back end slightly. Hamilton's tagged me, and we're both in the barriers there. And that is definitely not what either of us wanted here. As you can see, Hamilton now just parked it completely there. The safety car has been deployed, which I guess is sort of safe to say. But what has happened there between Lewis Hamilton and myself? I'll have to have a look, see if we can spot anything on the replays. I'm not too sure whether we can, but let's just have a see. And no, unfortunately we can't. We just see both of us there in the grass there. No idea what happened there. You can see both Lewis Hamilton and I in the barrier. Luckily for myself, we went in on the rear there, so hopefully we won't have too much damage. But Hamilton there parking it afterwards as well. Not exactly what we wanted there, but down from first to last place on the opening lap of the British Grand Prix. And by the end of lap 1, we are going to come through the pit lane, get a fresh set of tyres, and also change the front wing here. Obviously, we're down in last place. We're not going to be able to gain any positions until the end of lap 4. So obviously, it's basically just a free pit stop for myself. But no idea what Lewis Hamilton was doing there. I don't know where we ran wide. He just didn't calculate the difference in speed loss, guys. But moving on to the end of lap 4 here, as you can see, we're still up behind Lewis Hamilton here, so hopefully this race isn't all lost yet at the end of the safety car period. But obviously all we've got to do now is focus on trying to get a good run. The safety car is in, the yellow flags are now out, and now the green flags are out, ready to go racing once again. But Danny Kvyat, my teammate, straight away is out of this Grand Prix. Not exactly what we wanted, but unfortunately for him, just a complete and catastrophic engine failure on the exit of the safety car period there. There's actually a couple of drivers that have opted to go into the pit lane as well, and we dive down the inside of Lewis Hamilton there, get straight back past him, and hoping that we should be able to sort of like P18, P19 now, as there are obviously a couple of drivers in the pits, but we go purple there as well, obviously being one of the last cars to end up going through the finish line there. Basically should guarantee us purple there. But you can see, following on now, Jolyon Palmer here, we're going to go for a very, very late dive bomb there, after we nearly lost the back end there. Jolyon tries to just cut me off, but fortunately for me, we are able to get up the inside there as he's very, very cautious. Then on the exit of turn 3 there, he does try to go back up my inside, so we're going to try and have to go for the cutback move on him there. And we do finally now move up into P18 of the British Grand Prix already there. As you can see, the back end kicking out so much, struggling to keep the car in line. And further on now, on lap 5, we're closing up on Pascal Wehrlein now in the Manor car. So hopefully, we should be able to get back past him soon. He's right behind Bottas. We have a look around the outside, get caught over the curbs there. Wehrlein gives us the room, and we try to close in on him there, but he does just about keep the front end in there. So he's going to be able to hold on to that position for now. But hopefully, coming out down this long back straight, maybe, we could, in the slipstream, still try and mount a challenge on him there. As you can see, we do go purple on this lap as well. But coming into the final couple of corners here, are we going to try and look around the outside of Wehrlein? No, we're not. We're going to try and go for the cutback move here. Get an absolutely incredible run. Look around his outside into the final complex. There we go for a very, very late dive bomb on Valtteri Bottas there, which, wasn't really intended, but we just broke so late, and we were able to get past Bottas there. So moving up now, up into P60 now of this Grand Prix. As you can see, next up on my hit list is the other manner of Rio Haryanto here. So he's having a fairly good day out up in P15 here. We're going to try and look down the inside into the old turn one. Are we going to be able to go for it? We force the car alongside of there. He has to back out of it. And we now move up into P15 of the Grand Prix. And next up is the other Williams of Felipe Massa here, down in P17 and P14 at the moment. Not exactly what those guys wanted for the British Grand Prix. As you can see, coming through these next couple of corners here, are we going to be able to close in on Felipe Massa? As you can see, we do seem to be able to gain so much time over the AI there. As you can see, we go purple in the middle sector as well, just further cementing how quick we are really in these wet conditions here. But are we going to try and go for the same sort of cutback move, if you will, slow in, fast out through the final couple of corners here? We can push the car all the way over the curbs, but are we going to be able to look down the inside? Yes, we do. Into the third last corner there. Thinking about going for a move on Marcus Ericsson there as well, but think better of it as we come through the next couple of corners though. And now up into P14 we go, now right behind the Saubers, as I said, of Ericsson and Felipe Nasr here. We go purple as well on lap 7 of this Grand Prix. So, it's not looking too bad at the moment. Looking just a few corners later, and we're still right behind Ericsson and Nasr here, but we get a very, very good run out onto the long Wellington straight here. As you can see, are we going to try and make a move on Marcus Ericsson here? We've got the straight line speed advantage. He's got the slipstream on his teammate Nasr there, so we're going to try and dive it down the inside of the pair of them there into the next corner, and we do just about manage to move past them both there and make a wonderful double overtake back on my old team. And as you can see, now moving on to the end of lap 7 here, right now behind Romain Grosjean in his Haas car. So, he's looking just outside the points at the moment. So maybe, if we see a couple more retirements, he could be looking to get some very, very solid points on the board here. He's actually been doing fairly well this season. You think he's got 18 points currently in the standings. But having a look, going through the final couple of corners of lap 7, we're going to do what we keep managing to do in this Grand Prix. We're going to have a look up the inside into the final couple of corners, and once again, we make the position stick there. Now up into P11 of the British Grand Prix, so we're already halfway back up through the field in just 7 laps here. But now follow it on to the next lap, and we're right behind Grosjean's teammate of Esteban Gutierrez there. We can see a couple of cars now are in the pit lane here, and the team have got an alternate strategy, so they reckon it's now time to move on to a set of the intermediate tyres there. So we're going to try and go one more lap on this set of full wets here, and hopefully, we could get past Esteban Gutierrez in this lap. Just one less car we need to worry about when we come into the pit lane here. But trying to maximise our run through turn 1 and turn 2. We nearly lose the back end there a couple of times. They're having to overcorrect so many times there. But we go down the inside of Esteban Gutierrez, up into P8 of the Grand Prix, and that's another position we've managed to make up in this British Grand Prix here. But obviously, there are a couple of drivers in the pit, so we probably won't be this high up at the end of the lap. Coming out into the pit lane on the end of lap 8 here, as you can see, the Esteban Gutierrez has really dropped back on that lap, so hoping we won't have to worry about him too much as we come through the pit lane here. Obviously a very, very slow pit lane, hence why I have sped up the footage there. The top 3 drivers do manage to sneak through. We're not going to get held up there, so a fairly decent stop with just 2 seconds there. We're now right behind Sergio Perez, I think that is, in the Force India. As you can see, we come at the pit lane down in P11 once again there, and we're still looking strong in this Grand Prix. Hoping on these next couple of laps we're able to close in. You can see there's an absolutely humongous train of cars extending. I think that's up into sort of P4, P5 here. I think that might be Jenson Button and Fernando Alonso there, causing an absolute logjam on this lap. You can see there's 1 or 2 more cars now in the pit lane, so we are going to be able to jump back up into P9. And Lewis Hamilton is out of the Grand Prix. Let's have a look at what happened to him in this race now. As you can see, he's side by side with the man there. I think that might be Rio Haryanto. So does he make collision with him? I don't know. The engine just completely fails, just where my teammate Danny Kvyat did. And Lewis Hamilton now is out of the Grand Prix there. But you can see, moving on to the end of the safety car period, we're going to try and skip through this period as quickly as we possibly can, because obviously we're up into P7 now, and hoping that we could make a few more positions up on the safety car restart here. The yellow flags are now out. We're just going to try and push from here, try to get a beautiful undercut on Jenson Button. The green flags are out. We're able to look straight up the inside of Button there, trying to go up the inside of Max Verstappen there. We managed to make that stick as well. So now up into P5 of the British Grand Prix there. So very, very happy with that. And as you can see, next up on my hit list is Fernando Alonso in the McLaren Honda here. Up into P5 in this Grand Prix. So it's looking very, very strong at this moment in time. Obviously, the top 4 guys are just a little bit ahead of me here. But the team want me to come in for another pit stop very, very soon. But the track is slowly but surely drying out at this moment in time. So we're going to try and stay out until the dry period here. We're going to try and maximise our run now onto the long back straight here against Fernando Alonso. Obviously, with that McLaren Honda power unit, I think the top 4 were 4 different teams with 4 different power units at the moment. But technically we've got 5 different power units if you include the 2015 Ferrari unit. You can see coming into the next corner though, we go up the inside of Fernando Alonso there, and we move now up into P4 of the British Grand Prix here. Tried to go for a bit of an undercut on Sebastian Vettel. That doesn't really work out particularly well for us, but hopefully, you know, over the next couple of laps we will be able to close in. As you can see, moving on to lap 16, and we do go purple on the end of that lap here, so, you know, hoping that we can close in on Sebastian Vettel, and we get tremendous drive through turn 1 and turn 2. We dip a wheel on the grass there, but somehow managed to save the car. We move now up into P3 of the Grand Prix, so no idea how he managed to hold it around the outside of Sebastian Vettel there. He must be very, very shocked at how the hell we've managed to manage that. But now up into P3 of the Grand Prix, and next up on my hit list is Nico Rosberg, and then we'll be looking at Daniel Ricciardo, the race leader at this moment in time, but hopefully, you know, we should be able to shake him off very, very soon. As you can see, moving on to lap 18 here, and right behind Nico Rosberg still, looking towards to try and get a move very, very soon. Obviously, at the moment, we just need to beat Max Verstappen, and I think we should therefore be leading the title, because obviously these guys are just so far behind at the moment. Rosberg just hasn't been able to mount a challenge, but we're going to try and mount a challenge up the inside into the next corner there, the old turn 1, and we now inherit P2 once again in the British Grand Prix. So basically now we've been able to recover all the positions we lost at the very, very start of the race. So we're now basically back to square one here with 8 laps to go in this Grand Prix. But moving on towards the end of lap 18 here, and Daniel Ricciardo, coming through the final couple of corners, is going to dive into the pit lane for another set of the intermediate tyres there. So he has completely bottled his race strategy. As you can see, we're going to try and stay out until the dry period here. I'm not too sure what the tyres are at, but Rosberg, I think, is going to stay out for another lap or so. But Daniel Ricciardo completely bottling his race here, moving on to another set of the intermediate tyres. And by the end of lap 23, everyone else, apart from myself, had come in for another set of the intermediate tyres. So when it was finally clear enough to change over to the dries at the very end of this Grand Prix, we already had a pit stop advantage moving on to this lap. So, you know, there's only 3 laps to go in this Grand Prix, unless we have an absolutely humongous crash or an almighty bottle. Obviously, we should be able to take home this Grand Prix win. As you can see on the minimap, all the other guys now coming into the pit lane, as we're already leaving the pit lane, guys, which, as I said, by the end of lap 26 will mean we're going to have well over a 20-second lead on this final lap of the British Grand Prix. The AI actually on these last couple of laps were a little bit quicker than myself, but obviously they're not going to be 7-8 seconds a lap quicker, guys. But we're going to come through the final couple of corners in the British Grand Prix to take home a very well-deserved Grand Prix victory. But there we are then, guys, the end of the British Grand Prix. So happy to come through. Obviously, we came right from the very back to win that Grand Prix in the end after a humongous crash with Lewis Hamilton at the start there. But, you know, a win at the British Grand Prix, our home Grand Prix, obviously one of the big things we wanted to achieve this season, guys. But, you know, very happy with the result. We also, therefore, re-inherit the lead of the Drivers' Championship. And with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, obviously with Lewis's DNF and Max Verstappen finishing way down in P8 there after a bottled strategy right near the very end, we're going to be able to re-inherit the lead of the Drivers' Championship. You can see, have a look overall at the standings there in that Grand Prix. Hamilton and my teammate Danny Kvyat, the only 2 drivers not to make it to the end. Jolyon Palmer there right at the very back. No, you know, he was just so far off the pace there. Quite a disappointment for his home Grand Prix, obviously, for him there. But, you know, obviously, we're going to be very, very happy with that result. Jenson Button will be happy to take home points at his home Grand Prix as well. But, you know, the fans, hopefully, you know, we will have earned a lot more fans at our home Grand Prix today. Esteban Gutierrez there, just missing out on the points, as well as his teammate Roman Grosso. Those guys were looking very, very strong at the midpoint of that Grand Prix. But I'm going to look now at the drivers' standings, and we now have a 19-point lead over Lewis Hamilton, over Race Winsworth, over Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel there, with 27-point lead over those two each, with Daniel Ricciardo up into P5 there, Kimi Raikkonen down to P6, with Nico Rosberg, I think that's 40 points behind now in the standings overall, with my teammate Danny Clare up in P8 there, Fernando Alonso being the best of the rest at the moment as he's able to re-jump Nico Hulkenberg there. But, you know, it's still all so open for the Drivers' Championship. Really, we could see anyone from my teammate with how good the car performance is now that could still possibly win this world title in the second half. But scrolling further down, Manor still have failed to score a single point. Both of their drivers and Felipe Nasr being the only drivers left to not score. But look at Felipe Massa, they're down in P18 with just 4 points. But having a look then at the constructors' standings, Mercedes just lead the way, 5 points ahead of Red Bull, with 6 points ahead of Ferrari there, and just 20 points ahead of Toro Rosso there. So it's all looking very, very close at the moment. Then McLaren, Honda and Force India also tied for P5 there. So, you know, there's a lot of battles going on all the way up and down the field there, guys. But hopefully you have enjoyed this Grand Prix video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more of my Toro Rosso career mode, guys. And I will see you, hopefully, next time.
So promise that you'll catch me.